Yes, we're still a week away from preseason action resuming in the Ontario Hockey League, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about some interesting news developments that have been coming up and affecting the Ontario Hockey League and also the Canadian Hockey League in general. So I wanted to touch on that. Also, figured why not wear a Belleville Bulls jersey today? Because I saw earlier this week the Flint Firebirds talking about their 10th anniversary logo, which looks sharp. But then it got me thinking, it's now been 10 years since the Plymouth Whalers and Belleville Bulls both relocated in the same offseason. I don't have a Whalers jersey. That's one on my bucket list, but I figured why not wear a Belleville? This is probably still my favorite OHL jersey of all time, but you can let me know in the comments section down below what your favorite OHL jersey is of all time. But let's get past that and dive into the news items for today, starting off with another trade this time between the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds and the North Bay Battalion. Ryder Cali, his playing rights have been traded to the North Bay Battalion for London's 6th round pick in 2025, along with 3 conditional picks, 1 in 2027, that's North Bay's 7th round selection, and then 2 in 2028, a 2nd and a 4th. And of course, that all depends on whether or not Cali reports to North Bay and plays in a regular season game or not in the future. But this trade kind of coming out of left field a little bit here because Ryder Cali, all indications were that he was going to join the Soo Greyhounds this season after being drafted by Sault Ste. Marie. He toured the city, got to see the facility, and just everything that he was saying sounded like he was going to be a member of the Greyhounds' future going forward. But then back in August, it came out that he gave a verbal commitment to the Harvard hockey team in the NCAA. And because of that, he would not be reporting to the Soo Greyhounds this season, and also signed a deal with the Milton Menace of the OJHL. And it's because of that, when you have a commitment with the NCAA, you can't play in the Canadian Hockey League or you forego your agreement with the NCAA, as they view the Canadian Hockey League as a professional league. And that's been a topic of conversation for years, and really the reason why a lot of players end up not reporting to the OHL, because this is now the 3rd trade we've seen in the last couple of weeks involving players who have intentions of playing in the NCAA. It was Adam Valentini. He was traded from Brampton to Kitchener because he wants to go to the University of Michigan. Yesterday, it was the Malhotra trade from Kingston to Brantford. He wants to play at Boston University. And now Ryder Cali saying that he wants to go to Harvard. So because of that, his playing rights go on to North Bay. But the Soo Greyhounds, they do get a first-round pick for next year as compensation. So that's now 3 extra first-round picks we're going to see in the 2025 OHL priority selection. And for Kyle Raftis, the GM of the Soo Greyhounds, he said once he was told that Cali had intended on going the NCAA route, he had to make a decision. Do you make the trade now and get the first round compensation, or do you wait until the OHL trade deadline, so in January, when you would get a 2nd round pick as compensation? So very tough spot for Kyle Raftis to be in once it was determined he would not be reporting to the Soo Greyhounds. And for Sault Ste. Marie, it's a team that's likely going to take a bit of a step back this season. But they still have some good quality players in that lineup, and now they've got an extra first-round pick going into next season. And for the North Bay Battalion, no risk to them, because if Cali decides that I'm going to go the OHL route, well, they just have to surrender those conditional draft picks to Sault Ste. Marie, but they're going to get a good young talent. He's a tall centerman who had a lot of upside, is what Raftis was saying, and that's why they wanted to select him in the first round. They really liked Cali's play, and now we'll have to wait and see. Does he end up playing with the North Bay Battalion? And that leads into our next story, because this could impact players like Cali, Malhotra, and Valentini. Braxton Whitehead of the Regina Pats in the Western Hockey League, he has made a verbal announcement that he intends to play with the Arizona State Sun Devils. Now, what's different about this commitment is the fact that Whitehead has already played with the Pats and intends to play with the Regina Pats this season. So this is a first, because if you remember back early August, there was a court discussion in Buffalo that is challenging the NCAA's rules when it comes to hockey players coming out of the Canadian Hockey League. Because of that challenge, we haven't heard any official comment from the NCAA. And for Arizona State, they're not commenting on this commitment either, just for legal obligations. So it's going to be very fascinating to see where this goes because of that legal challenge. And now we have Braxton Whitehead as the first Canadian Hockey League player saying that he intends to go the NCAA route. So it's a challenge for the NCAA. And if they do end up opening this avenue, then more players could then go to the Canadian Hockey League. So that includes the Ontario Hockey League, the Quebec Maritime Junior Hockey League, and the Western Hockey League. So they could play in the Canadian or in the CHL, and then when they're at that age to go to university, they would then make that move to the NCAA. So this is going to be very fascinating to watch because if Whitehead, he intends to play in Arizona State in 2025-26, that would mean players like Malhotra, Valentini, and now Cali, if they wanted to, they could then play in the OHL before going on to the NCAA. So I think there's still a lot to be figured out here. Like I said, that's now in the district court in Buffalo, New York, challenging the NCAA's policy when it comes to players coming from the Canadian Hockey League. So this one we're going to want to follow closely. And there was a report earlier this year that the CHL and the NCAA were working towards an agreement that would allow CHL players to play in their respective league and then go on to the NCAA once they're 18 or 19. So I think there's still a lot of moving parts here. And this is the first time we're seeing a player that's challenging the NCAA who's already playing in the Canadian Hockey League. So very fascinating stuff. And it's going to be interesting to see how that's going to impact the OHL, even these next couple of seasons, because say Whitehead's allowed to play for Arizona State, well, then that would open the avenue for players that have been traded this year, Valentini, Malhotra, and Cali. So very fascinating to see where that all goes from here. And another interesting news item for London Knight fans, it's been announced that Budweiser Gardens may be renamed. It's kind of hard to believe because the arena in London, it's probably one of the more famous rinks in junior hockey. It's whenever you ask fans who are away teams, then you ask them, okay, what's your favorite arena when you go on a road trip? London tends to be at the top, and everyone says Budweiser Gardens. Now, it was, I want to say about 10 years ago, it used to be known as the John Labatt Center when it opened in 2002, and then switched to Budweiser Gardens, and it became kind of it felt kind of strange calling it a new name, but now that contract is coming to an end, the Labatt Budweiser contract, and now Canada Life, they want to step in and sign a 10-year agreement with the City of London. It's going before City Council September 24th. That's when we'll find out if the name of the arena will officially change. I know it's just the name of a building, but I miss the times when an arena wasn't a corporate sponsor. We still have that in the Ontario Hockey League. We have the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium, the Sudbury Community Arena, North Bay Memorial Gardens, just to name a few, because it is kind of nice playing in an arena that's got a long-standing name and that has a connection to the community. I'm even thinking of the Bayshore Community Center in Owen Sound. It has that flair. But when you get these corporate names, you get used to it for a little bit, and then the agreement changes, and we have to get used to a new name. I know it's a business, and teams need to make their profits and whatnot, but still, as a fan, it's kind of weird getting used to new corporate names, and it kind of just numbs us to all these building names when they keep switching so much. We even see that in the professional ranks in the National Hockey League, where arenas keep changing names. It seems like every arena right now in Canada is becoming a Scotiabank arena or now Canada Place, because they've got their name on the building in Winnipeg. So I know this isn't like a big earth-shattering news item, but I thought it was fascinating because there's a lot of history with that building in downtown London, opened in 2002. And really, since then, that's when this organization had changed and has become what it is today. So I just thought that was a fun little news tidbit to share here. And yeah, that's how I see it from the booth. Let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on any of these news items. I know the NCAA one is going to be very fascinating to follow to see what happens there. And if you haven't hit subscribe yet, I know I've got quite a few people who keep returning to these news videos. Why not hit subscribe? Help this channel grow a little bit. If not, that's okay too, because this corner of the internet is all about talking about OHL hockey, and can't wait to get the regular season underway. So again, thank you very much for all your support. Hit like and subscribe. Talk to you again soon.